My name is Javeed Habibi. I am a program manager on Azure Kubernetes Service, and I'm here to talk to you today about KEDA. Now, what is KEDA? KEDA is a Kubernetes-based event-driven autoscaler that allows you to drive the scaling of any containerized application in Kubernetes based on any number of events. Some such examples can be Azure Application Insights, Azure Blob Storage, Event Hubs, Log Analytics. Now, this does not mean we're limited only to Azure capabilities, but as there's lots of other open source capabilities such as Elasticsearch, MongoDB, and RabbitMQ. With that, let's get into our demo. Now, in this demo, I have my AKS cluster that I created previously, and my next step is going to be to deploy KEDA. I'm going to be doing this utilizing the Helm charts to make it easy. Since I've already configured the Helm repo, the next step I need to do is simply create a namespace for KEDA and deploy it to my cluster. Now that KEDA is deployed, let's take a look at the application. So if you look at my application here, I have a deployment starts with replica 0, as I do not want any instances of it running if the queue is empty. Next, I have my secret that enables the application and the scaled object to be able to connect to my Azure queue. But most importantly, I deploy the scaled object that references my deployment by name that has a couple parameters that need to be configured. For instance, these parameters include the min and max replica count. For this purpose, I have my minimum set to 0, as I don't want it running when the queue is empty, and I'll have up to a maximum of 10 instances running if there's a lot of messages in the queue. Our trigger is configured on the Azure queue that we are utilizing, and ideally we want to have a queue length of 5 per application running. Now, let's go ahead and deploy this. Now that our deployment has gone through, we can see, in fact, that there are no instances of our application running. Now, let's add a message to the queue and watch what KEDA does. Immediately, we can see it detects that there is a new message in the queue, it spun up an instance of our deployments, serviced it, and then has begun the process to spin down. While this is a great example of the core functionality of KEDA in this scenario, it doesn't exactly give us a great example of a production-like workload. With that in mind, I have this example application to throw several thousand messages into the queue to generate some load on our application. As we can see, as the messages start to arrive, KEDA spins up, is identifying the fact that there is more messages than what we would like to see per deployment of our application, is adding additional deployments, and will continue to scale appropriately up until it hits the maximum. Now, all the while, as I'm hitting refresh here, you can see at the same time, it is in fact still servicing the queue. But unfortunately, not fast enough. Thus, it needs to scale up even more. So now I'll add a maximum of 8 out of 10. Except for the fact that there's still more messages arriving in the queue. KEDA finally now hits the maximum of 10 instances of our deployments and is processing our queue as fast as possible within the application. Now, once it has finished processing the artificial load that I generated on the queue, we will then observe again the KEDA is going to be spinning down, back down to 0, That way, we can achieve the end result of the fact that we have 0 instances running of our application when there's no messages in the queue. And there we have it. KEDA is now spinning down all the instances of our application due to the fact that there is no messages in the queue and wrapping everything up. So this is just but a small tip of the iceberg of the capabilities that KEDA has with a single trigger and single scaler. There's many, many, many more opportunities and many, many more integrations that KEDA has that you can take advantage of inside of AKS. To learn more about it, be sure to check out the documentation on the KEDA's website. And to learn more about Kubernetes on Azure, please check out our documentation. And as always, thank you very much.